this is Brad with Pro Wrestling Junkies, and welcome to another episode of Toilet Side Wrestling Talk. Today's guest hails from Mother Russia and began wrestling in 2016. She trained under the Amazing Red and Johnny Rods and has worked all over the world, including the United States, Canada, Japan, Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, Russia. I could go on. She's worked for such promotions as Marvelous, That's Women's Pro Wrestling, Sendai Girls Pro Wrestling, Pro Wrestling Wave, Camp Leapfrog, Limitless, Beyond, New Texas Pro Wrestling, Global Syndicate Wrestling, and again, I could go on. She's the current GSW Soul of Syndicate champion and has shared the ring with the likes of Edith Surreal, Allison Kay, Erica Lee, Mikoto Shindo, Del Miexo, Nikki Adams. I could go on. I've said it before and I'll say it again. If you don't already have IWTV, go out and subscribe. You can check out my guest matches there as well as on YouTube. So let's welcome today's guest, someone who's returning to Toilet Side Wrestling Talk, someone who I would be honored if she gave me the middle finger. I give you Russian Dynamite, Masha Slamovich. Masha, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Thank you for coming on today and giving me some time on a Tuesday morning. I almost said Wednesday. All day seemed like Tuesday to me, so thank you.
Don't worry about it. I also thought I was like a day ahead, even though we're not.
Yeah. This stay-at-home dad stuff is literally killing me a little bit every day. So this may be the last time we speak. Who knows?
Oh.
Some of these questions might seem disjointed, but they'll go in a proper fashion. Can I ask you a question, though, about frog sport in your matches with Edith Surreal?
Yes, go on.
Okay. And one thing in particular, can I play another clip, and this is the last clip that I'll play?
Sure, go on.
Awesome. I have to. Okay, I could do an hour show on just that because I have dozens of questions. But the first is, it didn't look like there were tracks up there, when you went up there. Did anyone test this out?
No sane person is going to be like, yeah, let me go up on this roof and see if it's safe. Like, I was like, I'm going up on that roof, and I was like balls to the walls. If I fall off, I fall off. So I just went up there recklessly. And
did you know you were
gonna? Man, I committed.
Oh yeah. Did you know were you planning on doing that? Or was this just like something that you like, I'll do this now?
So I originally didn't plan on doing it. And then something just came into my mind and was like, man, you should jump off the roof. And I was like, that sounds like a great idea for me to do. And up there I went. And even when I was up there, I didn't know what I was going to do. So I just went with my instincts up there, man.
It looked like, I mean, it looked like you were starting to slip at one point. When you were climbing up the other thing is, so you're bleeding at that point, and it's not like you're wearing like a winter coat or anything. Did the bleeding make you feel colder? Sorry, my voice just squeaked.
I don't think I felt much of anything during that match. Aside from like anger.
Yeah.
It was, you're in the moment, you're doing it, you're wrestling, you're jumping off roofs and hitting people with stop signs. I'm not really thinking about, damn, is it kind of cold out here? That ship sailed a long time before.
Yeah. And the thing is, the snow wasn't like powdery. So like when you jumped off and you hit Edith, there was no give. It was almost like hitting like a boulder. Were you in pain afterwards?
I mean, it's not an enjoyable experience. If you'd like to go give it a shot and throw yourself off your nearest roof, be my guest and let me know how fun that is.
I would probably die. So my wife is probably all for that idea. But yeah, maybe it's something I'll think about it till next winter. Okay, again, a little disjointed, but so at the Marvelous Dojo, why were there so many pets?
So Chigusa Nagayo really likes dogs, and as
Okay.
do the rest of us. So it all started with like having one dog, having two dogs, having a couple rescues, and like, the rescues would like come and go. But then we had Bochi, who was Chigusa's dog, and which one was the first dog? So he mated with a poodle, and then they had 6 puppies in one go. So that immediately raised the level from 2 to 8 dogs.
Oh my God.
And then the dog mated with like 3 more dogs and had a heart attack, which led to like, I don't know, the dog just kept fucking. And then we started adopting other dogs, and somehow we ended up adopting 2 Frenchies, and now we have 3 cats. So I think we're up to like 16 dogs and 3 cats now.
Now, is everybody responsible for like a certain dog, or is there someone who takes care of all dogs and feeds them and walks them, or everyone's responsible for their own?
Kind of both. So we have my dog, Haruma. You've all seen him online, I'm sure. Mm-hmm. And then we have another dog, Udon, they're like the bigger breeds. So they can't really be around the little dogs. All the little dogs are like spend their time usually in the living room all together. Just like you walk into the kitchen and living room, there's like a storm of dogs heading your way. It's like,
oh wild. My God.
And the one cat just hangs out with the dogs and probably hates everything.
Oh, that's like the one girl in my family. She probably hates it all, being amongst all those boys.
Yeah, but yeah, so like when they're in the living room and in the morning, we have the young girls who like, because the dogs everybody has 1 or 2 dogs that they care for and sleep with. And in the morning, like the young girls will quietly be like, come here, and like get the dog out of your room and like feed it, walk it. Aside from me, awesome. I would just do that all myself. So the dog was like mine.
Yeah. It knew who its master
yeah, like
was.
The rest of the little dogs get taken care of, like fed and like taken care of in the living room by the young girls. And then we'll come collect them to like play with them and walk them and whatever.
Does this young girl, or girls, do they get paid?
So the young girls are like students. They're not even debuted wrestlers yet. Okay. So they pretty much have to like, aside from training, they live with us and they have to earn wrestling. So they do everything and they don't get paid. They cook, clean, take care of the dogs, train. If I need something, I'm like, hey, come up here, help me with this. Like,
oh, wow. But I guess it's like, their pay is being trained. Like they're trained.
Pretty much.
That's like what the payment is.
When you're a young girl, you're just focused on training. And then once you finally debut, you get to like work at the ringside bar. You get to, wrestle. Oh. You get like, you pretty much level up and like become an adult in life, even though you're probably
cool. Adult. What was the youngest student age?
I think she was like 15 or 16 when I was there. Yeah.
Is that typical when people get into wrestling there?
Oh, it can be even younger. We've had girls start as young as like 14, 13 over there.
And be
That in my
successful?
in my dojo, there's like a limit, I believe. But I know Ice Ribbon had like 9-year-olds debuting on shows. It was insane.
Were they any good?
Of course, they're all great. They would never put out a bad product over there, honestly. So I mean,
Yeah.
you want to do it, you're gonna do it no matter what it takes. Otherwise, you're just not gonna do it.
Do you think from when you got to Japan to when you left, like that you're a different person at all?
100%, 100. Like I don't even know who the person before Japan was. Like
Oh,
I
wow.
might have been good or decent enough to get to Japan, but Japan just completely took my game and like
So, like, was it like, so when you came back, was there culture shock
it,
or shock with
yeah, like
your old friends?
when I got to Japan, I didn't have a culture shock because coming back even after 4 years, it honestly like it felt like home to me because that was my first experience in wrestling, my first
Yeah.
time ever having a professional match, and like I lived over there for a month and a half. It was my introduction to wrestling, so it felt like home coming back there. But then
Sure.
coming back to America after a year in Japan, it felt so weird. Like everything here just felt weird. Like it was just I couldn't deal with it. I was like, what the fuck, America?
What about your friends that you have here? Was it hard to like reconnect or relate?
It was definitely hard to relate to like pandemic stuff because the pandemic
Mm-hmm.
experience that people had and my friends had here was entirely different from what I went through. So like, I don't want to sound like a dick, but it kind of like
Uh-huh.
didn't feel as serious to me because I wasn't living in New York City. I wasn't witnessing trucks of dead bodies being carted off the streets. I was like, oh, in Tokyo we had COVID, but it wasn't that big of a deal because
Yeah,
I just
yeah.
have dead bodies laying everywhere. Like we were living a normal life. I was going out to lunch, seeing my friends, like you know.
And so like in the country as a whole, were they not as concerned as it seems here?
So they were definitely concerned, but
Hmm.
here it was like, you can't leave your house, you can't like it was very severely restricted. But
Yeah.
in Japan it was like, hey, we strongly suggest you don't hit the bars tonight. You know what I mean? It was like they closed down like movie theaters and like late
Hmm.
night bars and karaoke, but like you can go like people were going to work, you could go out for lunch with
Oh,
friends.
did
It
were
was
people wearing masks?
Oh, people were wearing masks by the time I even got there in January.
Okay.
It's just a cultural thing over there to not like spread your germs on people. So people just
Yeah,
wore
that's what I
masks a
kind of
lot
thought.
anyways. We never had the issue of like masks or not, that wasn't a thing.
Hmm. Were shows still going on?
So during the first lockdown, like when everything kind of like hit the fan
Hmm.
in March, at
Yeah,
the
of
end of
last
March.
year.
So
Hmm.
we didn't have shows during April pretty much at all. And then
Okay.
during like late April, May and June, we did dojo tapings where we would just live stream the show with no audience to the
Yeah.
audience. And then on July 6th, we just started live shows again and we've been having live shows since. And even though Tokyo went into a lockdown in January, they were still letting us have shows. They just said finish it by 8 o'clock. So we just pushed our start time back an hour and it was fine.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, why did you leave? Did it have anything to do with the pandemic?
No, it was just it was like it was kind of to do with the pandemic because it affected like a work visa thing. And
Oh,
honestly, it was just like a misunderstanding of paperwork and it just couldn't be corrected in time and I had to leave pretty much. Like
oh. So are you planning on going back?
definitely. They've been trying to get me back. I've been trying to go back, but right now they're not issuing any work visas, so I'm trapped here in America.
Did you get vaccinated or going to get vaccinated?
I haven't been vaccinated yet. I'm just still I get tested every week between shows cuz I wrestle
Mhm.
pretty much every weekend since I've been back, so I just make sure to get tested before and after shows and not contaminate anyone.
Oh,
Thankfully,
that's a good
knock
policy.
on wood, I haven't had COVID yet, so
You know what? I was about to say something, but I didn't want to jinx anything, so I'm just going to knock on wood for the thought I had, and I don't want to put it out. So is women's wrestling popular in Japan?
hell yeah. We have
More so than here?
whole magazines, like we have Joshi magazines coming out every single month with like photo shoots and articles. There's like over 10 wrestling promotions of women that are like women's wrestling, or wrestling in general in Japan is just so much more revered than it is in the United States. You know, here, funny story, I went to my doctor yesterday and they tried to ask me, they're like, what do you do as a profession? And I was like, I'm a wrestler. They're like, oh, a professional arm wrestler, right? I'm like, what? They didn't even know what professional wrestling was. And in Japan, you know, there's professional wrestling on TV. The magazines are in every store. Yeah. Like, you can't live in Japan and not know what pro wrestling is.
Is the TV, is it like episodic shows?
So,
like, you know, like The Road?
No, not really. Like, if, you know, I'm talking more like New Japan and Noah.
Oh,
and
okay.
Even Marvelous, right? We still release stuff on like DVDs, and we have like an online site where we send links so people could watch the show. And sometimes they do tie into one another, but for a lot of the time when we were still like bringing our younger girls up until the next level, it was like matches, you know.
So you're wrestling there every weekend?
We have it can vary, especially with like the pandemic, depending. So like our company will have 2 to 3 shows a month, but then we also get sent out to other companies like Diana, Pro Wrestling Wave, Sendai Girls, you know, I did Ice Ribbon, stuff like that. So it's like choose your own adventure, but while talking to your office before you do it. You know,
okay.
I came there and I was like, I want to work every week. I was like, I want to work all the time. I was like, book me on everywhere and everything. And then there's girls who are like, hey, I'd rather not break my knees. You know, I'm like 2 shows is fine.
Yeah. So, but you like that?
I love it. I'll wrestle every day. I mean, in 2019 alone, I think I had upwards of 250 matches that year.
Wow. Let me ask you a question about your non-wrestling friends here. Maybe friends that you had prior to, you know, becoming a pro wrestler.
That can you assuming I had any friends to begin with?
Yeah, well, okay. We'll do a slash family. Can you take down every single person that you know who's a non-wrestler?
Guaranteed.
And in under 2 seconds?
I mean, yeah, pretty much. Like,
okay.
I can't imagine any of my non-wrestling friends standing even a remote chance against me lunging at you.
Now, have you ever tried out moves like on a family member or a non-wrestling friend?
Hell yeah. My sister always gets the brunt of that shit. I'm like, come here, let me try this out on you real quick.
Oh, wow.
I remember like my second day of training back when I first started. I learned a bunch of like arm bars and holds. And I came back to her house and she's like, oh my God, how was training? And I was like, yeah, come here, let me show you what I learned. This is a fucking arm bar.
Because you can't train on a stuffed animal. You need like a human who will react.
Pretty much.
Okay, so again, disjointed questions. So a couple months ago, you had an article in PWI.
That is correct.
Was that nice? Did you know prior? Like how long before?
So the lovely lady who wrote about me, Lauren Founds, she hit me up because she has been a friend and been supporting me like ever since she discovered Masha Slamovich, I guess. And she hit me up and she said that she was speaking of PWI about writing an article anyways, and she wanted to do it on me. So I was so touched and blown away, and we had corresponded those pictures that were published, I was sending them to her, and we had to credit the pictures and like this, that. Of course, she had to talk to me to like find out about stuff. So I knew about the article probably since like late November, early December.
Oh, okay.
And we were collaborating on the article. And when it finally came out, it was amazing to see my face in PWI after I was a kid, buying the magazines, like reading. I still like literally I'm looking at my box of like collected stuff over here. And it's just wild to see like all the PWIs and then my PWI on top.
Yeah. So did you go out and where can you go out and buy them now? Did you buy a bunch?
So Lauren sent me 2 copies, one for me and one for my family, like my mom and dad.
Yeah, I was going to say, they probably need one.
Yeah, I did have a sponsor who sent me a whole like box of them. So I have 7 of them or 6 of them or something that I have for sale extra. So there's a little plug right there if you want a copy signed. PWI, I am selling them. I have them.
All right.
DM me.
At the end, remind me again, and I'll put that in the post for this as well. So, what would you say were the lessons you've learned in Japan that you brought back here? Maybe not even wrestling related.
Just, I can't really. I would have to write a book on all the lessons, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's just, it changed me in every single way. I remember before Japan, I was sitting like at my friend's house and just being like, I want to go live in a dojo. All I want to do is wake up every day and just wrestle and, learn and dedicate myself to it and become better. And then I found myself locked in a dojo and all I could do was train. And it just... if I had good psychology and good wrestling before, it completely elevated it, like just perseverance and just having that fight and, disciplining yourself, like having to get up every day and go running and walk your dog and cook your breakfast and go to training and take a break to eat food and then train again. And then there's YouTube Live and we have to do photo shoots and shows. It's just, you have to like, you have to make it happen. There's no excuses. There's no days off. There's no such thing as no, because no one gives a shit what you have going on. Get up and get it done.
Yeah, I imagine that's how you have to be. Like, did you let me ask you a question. Do people treat each other better in Japan than they treat each other here? Not wrestling, just in general.
People generally are a lot more respectful. There is some people who are a little out of line.
There's always.
But just generally, it's just such a pleasant place to be because, being from New York City, I'll even like be going down the street and it's like a complete zoo here. Everybody is rude. And in Japan, everyone is just like thoughtful of other people. Is honestly, your people are just considerate over there is what it is. And that's just something that we completely lack here.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's crazy to hear that. Are you gonna go anywhere before you go back to Japan? Like, do you want to go to any other countries to wrestle, like Mexico?
Oh, guaranteed. Mexico's definitely somewhere that I have my sights set on. Whenever Europe gets their shit together, too. Australia I know is locked down forever, but whenever it opens up, I definitely want to go to Australia. And
what's the flight from Japan to Australia length?
Shorter than it is from here.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I don't think I could do it from here.
Dude, even coming from here to Japan is like 16 hours something. It's some outrageous flight length. It's just so much. I hate it.
Or do you have to get off in LA?
I think my first time when I went over there, I went straight, I want to say, and it was like, I think it was 16 straight or like 17. This time when I went there, I flew 12 or I flew to Taipei in Taiwan, however long that took. And then I had a 13-hour layover, and then I flew 4 hours from there to Tokyo, and it was the worst.
That sounds off. The 13 hours, and you just have to kill 13 hours, basically?
Well, hold on a minute, because I actually had the blessing to get the layover in Taiwan. And at first, I'm just like, this is kind of weird.
Yeah.
When I got there, I swear to God, this was the best airport I've ever been in. Like they had
Really? Why?
four or five sports parks where you could just work out. There had like showers and like a sleeping like chair. There was like food everywhere. I mean, I kept myself occupied. I filmed a whole interview with somebody while I was there, worked out. Like
Oh, wow.
those
So it's like
13
a little
hours flew by
spa
because I was
airport.
busy.
That's and tons of food.
Yeah, like I had, I had 13 hours felt like 5, and then off I went onto the plane.
Are you able to sleep on an airplane?
I hope to sleep on an airplane. Not gonna lie, before I get there, I smoke a little bit. I'll drink at the
Yeah,
airport.
yeah.
I'm like anything to not be awake on the
That's
flight.
what I
I
had to do
absolutely
too.
hate flying. So I'm like, if I could be not conscious for it, I'd enjoy that.
Yeah, I've tried. I'm like, oh, I'll just have an edible, but I don't. I never have timed it right, and I always like then end up like freaking out. So no more edibles when I
I try
fly.
to just not sleep before my flights and just get, as impaired as possible so that the longer
Sure.
the flight, the longer I'm knocked out. And hopefully I'll just wake up and be like, oh, we only have 1 more hour left. Thank God.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, you'll be the wheels are coming down. So you're back here. I'm going to start wrapping this up. When people hear Masha Slamovich or read your name, Masha Slamovich, what do you want them to think?
I want them to be concerned. If I want them to be concerned for my opponent. If you're my opponent, I want you to be concerned about yourself. Um, you know, I'm here to make a name for myself. I'm here to do my best in pro wrestling. I don't know what to tell you, man.
Yeah. Well, you have to look out for
The
yourself.
the famous saying that just goes all the time in Japan. It's just like do your best. Yeah,
Huh?
that's. I'm like do my best.
That's all you
That's
can
what I
ask.
can give you is my best.
I mean, that's simple, but it ends up meaning that means a ton.
It
Um,
does.
Before I let you go, can I ask you 5 yes or no questions that have nothing to do with wrestling?
Go on, right ahead.
All right. Okay. Is there any circumstance that where you'd adopt an 18-year-old, like to help with bills and such?
Maybe, yeah, because then I'd make them a wrestler too. So, yeah,
Okay, that's a great
an
answer.
18-year-old though. I'm not adopting any 2-year-old or some shit like that.
No, no, no. It's got to be 18 or
Yeah,
up,
yeah. 18 is
so they
like
can start
we
earning.
can reason, we can be like on a sensible path here.
Yeah, yeah. He's not working on a $5 an hour subway job that I used to have. He's earning at 18. Okay, and it might be a girl. Um, have you ever said to yourself, "Man, I could use a tail"?
When I was a kid, I thought that was a great idea. Now, not so much.
Yeah. For $1.9 million, would you eat food, but it's pre-chewed like a bird, and that's how you have to be fed the rest of your life? And you can hire someone to chew it for you if you want. One
For the
point nine
rest of
million
my
dollars.
life, for the rest of my
Mm-hmm.
life, no,
Mm-hmm.
hell no,
Okay.
hell no. I love food too much. I'm a fat ass.
Okay. Do you? No, you're crazy. Did do you know? Do you speak Russian?
Yeah, fluently. It's my first language.
Okay, good. Um, it's my wife's as well. Can you call me a big Brad? You're a big nosed fool in Russian.
uh, what?
Say in Russian. Say to me, Brad, you're a big nosed fool.
Brad, ты большоносный идиот.
Thank you. Thank you. I've heard that's so funny. I've heard that before. And sometimes my oldest son, who's 11, always translates for me. If I hear my name, like at like a family dinner, he'll translate for me. But I don't know anything. But I've heard what you just said before. Okay. Final question. You've done great for the first 4. Since you turned 21, have you ever kicked someone in a non-wrestling capacity?
Yeah. Before
Okay.
21, after 21, yes.
Okay. Okay. That's fine. 5 for 5. You did great. Masha, thank you very, very much. Where are you going to be wrestling next?
So I have let me pull this up for you because now I'm on my
Crazy.
computer like a smart person and I can use my cell
Yeah,
phone.
you seem so smart.
Dude, usually I record this on my cell phone and then I can never like find my shows. I'm like, listen, I just got a computer. Let me be sensible.
Well,
So
I'll say something while you're looking.
this weekend I have Iron Heart, of which the show is Forged by Fire. It will be in Rosemount, Minnesota, and I will be facing Killa Kate. And here is the flyer
nice.
for that.
Oh, awesome.
There we go. So that's coming up next, and yeah, that's where I'm coming up next weekend. This weekend.
And as I said in the intro, prior to you coming on, you can see especially your stuff for Limitless on IWTV.
Yes, you can search my stuff, Masha Slamovich, on IWTV. Beyond actually just released Masha Slamovich versus Erica Lee from Fool's Paradise, I believe it was, which was live last month, and now it's available on IWTV. And the entire show, Project Reality, is also available on IWTV, featuring myself and Kimberly, which was my latest performance.
Awesome. My last question. Is it fun being on, like, like The Road, the show The Road? Is it fun, like, having, like, episodes?
Yeah, like I've always loved working with Limitless, before the pandemic, after the pandemic.
Yeah.
When I was there to do the tapings, it's always a great time. I love it up there, and I hope to go back up there soon because I haven't been up there in a while. And hopefully it's less cold, because boy, is it cold in Maine in February or January.
Oh my God, I bet. All right. Well, until the next time we speak, please kind of stay on the ground or within 8 to 10 feet of the ground, because I don't know if you could replicate that off the roof twice. You'll be really rolling the dice on that one.
We'll just have to wait and see what I do next.
Yeah, who knows? All right. Thank you so much, Masha, and stay well, and we'll talk again.
Have a good day. Thank you.
You do the same. Thanks.